the biomechanics portion of our presentation. We're going to be covering three different sections of the biomechanics of a putt. We'll start with the grip, move on to the setup, and then to starting with the grip. This is one of the most versatile parts of the grip, most versatile parts of the putt, excuse me. There are so many different options that golfers can choose from. I have several that are listed here: overlap, interlock, 10 finger, reverse overlap, 2 thumb, reverse, and claw. I personally like the interlock because it's an extension of my full swing. It's where I am most comfortable. Putting is a very personal aspect of golf, and it's a part that you really have to work with a bunch of different aspects to figure out what fits you best. The most popular are the overlap and reverse overlap, but that doesn't mean necessarily you have to use that one yourself. Another aspect of the grip that is really important and people tend to forget when they get nervous is it's important to keep your grip pressure loose. This helps you to be able to move smoothly. You don't have any rigid actions in your putting stroke, and helps you stay relaxed, which is really important throughout your putt. Alright, so this brings us to the setup portion of the putt. It is extremely important that we start with the feet. All aspects of golf swings start from the bottom up. Very, very, very important that we have a nice, strong foundation at the bottom. So starting with your feet, you want to make sure they're about shoulder width apart, feet facing forward, okay? Next, we're going to move up to the knees. You want to make sure your knees are slightly unlocked. You don't want a big 90-degree angle or anything like that. Or you don't want to have your knees locked out standing up straight. You want to have just a nice, slight bend at the knee. Gives you a good athletic position to start out with. Moving up to the waist, you want to have a slight tilt forward, just enough where your arms hang straight down. Okay? Head position, we want to make sure that our head is directly over the ball. And we want our ball to be in the middle of our stance. This allows us to see where the ball is at, to get a good idea of where our stroke is going, and it also helps us to see the line a little bit better going towards the hole. Once again, with the arm position, we want to make sure our arms are hanging straight down, relaxed without having to move them forward or back, and want them about a fist distance away from the body. And the most key component in your setup is to relax. You don't want to be tense. You don't want to have any kind of jerky motions in your putt. You want to have a nice smooth stroke. So the key to that is being relaxed. Alright, so we've worked our way to the actual stroke itself. Starting with this, it is important to note that we use just our shoulders to take the club away. A lot of amateur golfers like to use their wrist to flip at the ball, and this causes all kind of errors. It's just like any other machine that you use. The more moving parts you have, the easier it is for it to break down. So in order to avoid these things, we use just our shoulders to take the club away and to bring it through. It is important that your lower body is quiet, what we call quiet. That means no movement at all. We don't want to shift our weight forward or back. We don't want to go side to side, left to right. We want to keep it quiet and a nice strong foundation. It's important to have your weight 50-50 left and right, and 50-50 toes and heels. That way you're good and balanced. Okay, so going to the point of using your shoulders. We want to keep our wrists where they are on the grip. We want to use just your shoulders in a pendulum fashion, keeping your head still. Don't want to move the head at all. So there's just a nice pendulum motion through the ball. When I come to the point that says distance matters, it's a common misconception among amateur golfers that you can just take the club away as far as you want and you can just slow it down, or you can speed it up through the ball to get the distance that you want. The best putters in the game use the distance that they take their club away from the ball to judge the distance, how far it's going to go. So when it, just like any other pendulum, as far back as you take it is going to be as far forward as you're going to bring it through in the follow through, which is going to help determine how far it's going to go. The farther back you bring your club, then the further the ball is going to go. So in your backswing, you're going to take it back as far as you feel you need to. Okay, once you get there, we're going to start the downswing using just your shoulders. Alright, as we come through to impact at the ball, we want to make sure our face is square to the target. Okay, that means straight up and down, flush with the ball. If you leave it open with the toe towards the right for a right-handed golfer, the ball is going to tend to be pushed off to the right. If you close the face, it'll be a pull to the left. Okay, as we make the follow-through, you want to go through just as far as you went back, just like any other pendulum. Okay, so when you think of the putting stroke, you want to think of it as a pendulum. Alright, so we made it to the equipment portion of the presentation. Here we're going to talk about two different aspects. We got putter types and which ones can be the best fit for you. All right, starting with putter types, I have three pictures of three professional golfers here on screen. The golfer in the bottom right is Tiger Woods, arguably the most successful golfer of the modern age. He uses a standard putter, which is what the majority of players use these days. Um, it's usually about 34 to 35 inches in length, connected to a standard head. There's no anchor point on the body, and it's used in a free pendulum motion without any assistance of that anchor point. Move over to the top picture, which is Ernie Els. He was last year's British Open champion. He uses what's called a belly putter. As you can see in the picture, he has an anchor point in his belly. This allows for a much easier pendulum motion. There has been much debate amongst the officiating bodies of golf, both here in the United States and in Europe, as to whether or not this should continue to be legal on the professional tour. The argument is that it takes away a degree of difficulty in the game that a standard putter introduces. Using this anchor point takes away some of the nerves, it takes away some of the shakes, the jitters that players get when they get nervous. We move down to the bottom left-hand picture. This is Adam Scott. He just won this year's Masters. That was him making his putt to win. He uses what's called a long putter. This anchor is at the chest. This is much like a broom. That's another name for it, as a broom putter, broom style putter. There's an anchor point at the chest, and you push it forward with your other hand. I think it's something like the last 4 of the last 5 majors in golf have been won by players with either long putters or belly putters, which is starting to show the increase in usage, and it's also could be an indicative of whether or not it's making it easier to win. Alright, so we have the two different putter types. As far as head shape, we have what's called a blade putter, which is pretty standard. It's the most popular. It's been around for the longest. It's long and relatively narrow. There's not a whole lot of weight on the back end. And we have what's also called a mallet style putter, which is the picture on the bottom of the screen. There are several different models, several different makes of that in that picture as well, but there are literally hundreds of designs that you can choose from that best suit your eye and best suit what you feel is comfortable for you. Alright, so we're talking about what fits best for you. There's several different factors that go into choosing a putter that's going to fit you well. The first being weight balancing in relation to the type of stroke you have. There are 3 different putting strokes. There's what's called a straight back, straight through, which is pretty straightforward. Take the club directly back and directly through without any kind of arc in the swing path. You have what's called a slight arc, which is what the name implies. There is a slight arc to the inside and a slight arc back into the inside as you go through the putting stroke. And then you have what's called a heavy arc, which is all the way in and all the way in, again on the front side. So we have 3 different styles of putters that can accommodate these 3 different putting strokes. You can have 3 putters that have identical heads. They all look the same, but they can all 3 be balanced differently to support those 3 different putting strokes. So you have what's called toe balanced. If you take a putter and find the balance point on the shaft and have it sit on your finger and look at the head of the putter, if the toe is tilted slightly down or all the way down, it's called toe balanced or heavy toe balanced, depending on how far down the toe goes. And these 2 different weighting systems help promote the different arc paths that these people use. If the face of the putter stays straight up and it's parallel with the ground, it's called a face balance putter, and this is to help promote the straight back and straight through style swings. The length can be measured by any professional at a golf store. He'll take a ruler and he'll measure your distance from wrist to floor, and he'll give you a recommendation as far as how you need to choose what length and whatnot. Bottom here at the page is the link that can take you to 2 guys that tell you about what should be done to fit you properly for a putter.
There are many environmental factors that affect the golf putt. The putting green's grass may have short, medium, or long grass depending on the upkeep of the golf course. The grass of a putting green is usually cut very short so the ball can roll for a long distance. A green may also consist of a thin carpet in case weather issues become a factor in maintaining the course. Hole placement is also an environmental factor in putting. The putter may have a direct line of sight, right line of sight, or left line of sight. Conditions may also affect the putter. Wind speed plays a significant part in a golfer's putting approach. Rain, snow, and the temperature may also affect the putter. The type of grass on the putting green may also be a factor. Many golf courses in the South are constructed with bent grass greens. Bent grass greens are considered the best greens because they can be cut extremely low. Many golf courses were changed from Bermuda grass to bent grass. Tie dwarf hybrid Bermuda, also called Bermuda grass, is also common on putting greens. The best greens are always established vegetatively and never from seed. Golfers describe greens as being fast or slow. Golfers describe a green as fast if a light stroke on the ball makes it roll a long distance, and on a slow green, a stronger stroke is necessary to roll the ball the same distance. The speed of the green can be determined by a stimp meter. Psychological factors also affect the golf putt. Missing previous shots at the beginning of a golf match may have an effect on a golfer's putt. The putter's score leading into the putt may also have an effect on the putter. A golfer may have the yips, which is a movement disorder known to interfere with putting. When describing the yips, golfers use terms such as twitches, jitters, or jerks. The yips affect half of mature golfers. A putter's level of self-confidence may play a big part in the putt. High levels of self-confidence when putting has shown to be successful. Audience distractions such as coughing, talking, or cell phones ringing during the putt may occur during a golf match. A putter may have an advantage if they can visualize where they want their putt to go.
A couple of psychological factors that can come into play when executing a putt can be the stakes, or what's at stake on the certain hole or tournament or game or round of golf. It can be any level, any person playing, it can be high school, collegiate, professional, amateur, anything. There can be money riding on it. It can be any kind of prize. It can be a qualification for the next level. You know, a high school athlete trying to make it to state, collegiate athlete playing for a championship or a professional championship. The bragging rights between you and your pals. You know, you may have never beaten your buddy, and you're trying to sink this winning putt, the last hole of the course, and you need to put it down. That's a big factor. The venue can also play a role. How familiar you are with the course. Have you played it before? And if so, your past performances on this certain course, how is that? And how will that affect you? Have you never missed a putt on this hole? Have you never made one? Have you never shot or attempted a putt on this hole? These are all things that can come to play and affect your golf putt.
About greatness whenever they speak about me. I ain't splitting nothing with nobody, homie. I gotta get me. I ain't slipping 8 days. I can go for 8 weeks.
In your informant, I bet he leave bust. I ain't scared to go. I believe in Jesus.
I don't care what nobody say. I'ma be me. Stay hood, stay raised in the streets. Talk about greatness whenever they speak about me. I ain't splitting nothing with nobody, homie. I gotta get me.
As you can see from the previous video, golf players and golf programs at the collegiate level train just like any other athletic team or any other sports team would. It's pretty rigorous, and you do much of the same workouts and a lot of the same things, but golf programs specifically are tailored around the muscles in this diagram, which you can see are the abdomen, your shoulder girdle, the pelvic girdle, and the back. When weight training, The programs that are designed for golf are focused towards balance, for control and endurance. Golfers should lift to enhance their entire body because golf requires upper and lower symmetry, and it's important to develop the right and left sides equally because this will improve how the golfer strikes the ball. The idea is to build strength and not mass or volume. They should lift sub-maximal weight at higher reps, sometimes maybe 25 to 50 reps. The programs should work all the muscle groups, but the few areas that they should have extra focus towards, because the posture in which you're in when golfing, which is hunched over with the neck bent down, leaning forward towards the ground, you should really focus on important strengthening exercises for the back and shoulders that would support good posture, and the legs. Obviously, the legs are the platform to every swing. Putting, driving the ball, any swing that you would ever do in golf, big thing with the legs. That's going to be where your base is. The stability for each strike is there. So a lot of exercises for the legs. Squats, leg lifts, box jumps like you saw in the video. There's a lot of stuff that they can do to keep things interesting. Just a mix of weights, resistance training, and isometric training. Whatever exercise the individual is doing, they should always be careful not to overstress the muscles. Just push to a point of muscle failure and not pain.